Here's some Harley Davidson tents coming back to visit. Did these before. Still in nice shape. They've held up well. These are the ones that had the Eleanor Mustang paint put on them. All real nice. Got a little spot here that happened from the dash. We can touch that in. Some scratches here on this one. We got to buff those out. Roll here a little bit, you can see them right there. We'll sand and buff those out. I don't think they went in too far. This tank should be pretty good. This tank's another issue. This tank, we had some bubbling. Turned around the fill neck. So I ground all that out. And looking at it here, this top ring is not flush. It's wavy up and down. So when they body worked it, you can see how thick the filler was. See the thickness here. Well, they body worked it up over top of the filled edge. That's usually always a no-no because fuel will soak into that filler, that bond over on the filler area, and leach out underneath the paint here and cause bubbling or blistering. There was a spot right here that I welded back in. You can see right there, it was like a crack right here, right underneath where we had a blister. So that was fixed. I fixed some right here around this front edge. Back where you can see it. On the front edge where it was welded, and it looked like it was cracked. So we tacked that in, trying not to get too much heat in it, and blister off any more body work here on what we don't want to have to get into. Now we're going to repair this. Probably talking to the owner about putting in a stainless trim ring. It goes on top. A lot of times they do that on these flush mount caps like this, because otherwise your seal is sitting right down on top of the paint. You can see here. This side I painted, brought it right up to the edge. We did it before, we've had no problem on this side. You can see the rubber seal here on the cap. It just sits right down on top of that. Right down on top of the paint. So, of course, anything that's going to come out and leach out will leach out onto the paint itself. I think it's on that edge. That's where you start having the bubbling and blistering. That's the downfall of putting them in flush like this. Looks good, but it loses some of its functionality. So, that's what we're going to do on this one. I'm going to go over this again and make sure we're doing pretty good down here, around where the bung was welded in, filler bung. And then we'll redo the body work on this. This fender, say we painted this fender too, and process of rebuilding this bike. It's getting a new frame and everything put on it. We had to cut this out right here. So we've got to finish up this edge. We don't know what this is on here. There's some speckles or something. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. You can see them there. But we've got some dings and everything. Here's a couple dings down here. I've got them all circled. One right there. Some scratches up here. Chips. A nice ding right here. Another one right here. Got it in the light. Yeah, there it comes. So we're going to fix those and repaint the back fender. The front fender looks nice yet. I don't see any star chips or anything in it from stones or so it still looks nice. So we're just going to do a little buff job on that. When we finish buffing everything, we'll buff this fender and the other tank half too. So we're going to paint the rear fender and one of the tank halves. I'm using the same paint on it that I put on the first time. So we should get a real good match out of it. You can see the pearl effect in it. Very nice paint. Out in the sun it just lights up. So we'll bring you back on this when we make more progress. Okay, back on the Harley fenders here. Everything on this fender is scuffed down to 600. We started off with some 180 on some of these bad spots. We went to 320. Then we went to 600 for our final scratch on this. I was debating whether I was going to prime this or not. We'll see. If we prime the whole thing, we're pretty decent on everything. May just prime in these spots, but you know how it is. Once you start putting the primer on. So I'll probably end up just priming the entire top of this fender. We'll sand her in. We had some nicks up here. Some things. This one I had to put a little bit more on. A little bit more glazing on it. We had some nicks here where it was in the fab shop. refab on this bike with a new chassis and a new frame. So that's where we're at with the fender. Looking good, looking really good. Same, I did this before. I had smoothed all these welds in, ground all the welds. When this fender was made, smoothed everything in, and they all held up nice. You always get a little worried when you do that. You don't want to take off too much weld. You have to leave enough on there for safety and integrity of the part. So you get kind of worried when you start grinding them down, but they come out nice. I know it's already been run on the bike, so we're good with those. Our tanks are with our problem. I haven't done any work here yet, but getting ready to put some Duraglass around here. I'm going to Duraglass it in. Said some of the spots up here we took care of. This tank is all sanded in 600. It's really ready to go. This is the kind of stuff on bikes that really drags out the time. If you're going to repaint a tank, you have to scuff everything. Backside's never seen, but it still has to be scuffed all the way down underneath. This entire tank is scuffed in. This one we had a spot up here where the dash it's at, and a piece of adhesive pulled some paint before, so we're going to take care of that. Back here, just some a little bit of rash here on it. This is really why we had to redo this tank. We could have probably got by with leaving this because the dash would still cover it, just damage in color. But these marks right here went all the way through the clear. They were down into the base coat, so we have to fix it. So we're going to go ahead. This silver is hard to blend in and not see it. This bike is really nice, so we're going to paint the whole tank. I'll end up scuffing this whole tank just like the previous half. All this backside all has to be done, all underneath. Scuff everything. I'm cutting out the holes where the rubber insulators went in. Rubber dampers go in because they're so hard to get in and out. There's so much paint that is built up in these. So you can see on these, we took them all the way out. Focus on that, maybe. But we took these all the way down to the bare metal. That way the rubber grommets should go in a lot easier than what they come out. So that's where we're at on the Harley parts. We'll bring you back when we make more progress with them.